How's it going, everybody? So there's the water splashing. We can slow-mo it. Slow-mo. Hey, Mo, let's go slow. He goes down on the Capricorn moon. He's the goat. I pet goat. The six lights in the sky. The six. Ah, I get it. Because it's on the sixth. Did they really make it that simple? So he's coming out of the womb. He's being birthed because he's the goat. Because he goes down in the Capricorn moon, but he's birthed where? There's a split splash of the water. The water bear. He is birthed. The water is breaking. He rises on the 8th. Remember, the very beginning of Donnie Darko, she says, and I quote, I'm voting for Dukakis. So I'm voting for Dukakis, Donnie Darko. It's the first words spoken in the movie. First word spoken. This is how the movie starts. Now, she's the only person on Earth that was in Donnie Darko, where Jake Gyllenhaal, her brother, is Donnie, who gets killed by a jet. We know what brought down the twin Trumps. And she was also in The Dark Knight. The darkened right eye of the Antichrist. Donnie Darko. Woe to the idle shepherd, his right eye shall be utterly darkened. Donnie Darko. Donnie Donald. Donnie Darko. The Dark Knight. Darkened right eye. And then, because it's 11:17, and the right eye utterly darkened Raiders played the Jets, which brought down the twin Trumps and killed Donnie on October 2nd. October 2nd spelled out is Donald Trump spelled out in simple gematria, where A is 1 and Z is 26. Her name is Maggie Gyllenhaal. I don't know how loud my volume is. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it because sometimes Zoom doesn't pick up any volume other than my own voice. So Dad already made a facial expression at Mom, but nothing's been said yet. And she's eating pizza. And we know all about how their world made this big deal about pizza, followed by the word GATE in 2020, the quote unquote conspiracy theory world. Nothing's been said yet in this movie.
I'm voting for Dukakis.
I'm voting for Dukakis. The election was on 11/8, which if he goes down on 11/6, he would rise on 11/8. 11 times 8 is 88. Just like 11 times 17, Zechariah 11:17 is 187. And the 187th prime number is 1117, which is why the entertainment industry has glorified 187 for murder. It's the murder of the future Antichristos. I'm voting for Dukakis. So I pet goat. The moon is in Aquarius. Aquarius. fifth dimension. The moon is in Aquarius on the rising day of 11/8, which was the election day in 1988, which is also Year of the Dragon. Gigantic year for Mystery Babylon. They do so much with 1968, which, if I'm not mistaken, let me see, 68 to 80. Yeah, that wasn't Year of the Dragon. But, and you see the splish splash of the water in the background, the birthing as he comes out of the birth canal. If you want to see what the birth canal looks like, there is right above the birth canal is this satanic Satan with horns figure right above it, right above the birth canal. The divine feminine, the womb. And then he comes out, splish splash. Aquarian is called the water bearer, Aquarius. And like we said the other day, the moon will be in Capricorn, the goat, I Pet Goat. You go back to I Pet Goat, the very beginning, you see the lights in the sky, which stands for moon. Moon in what? Moon's in Capricorn, which sign is the sea goat. And you see on the floor, it's all blue like the ocean, even though it's also snow. But snow is water. Because you're at the North Pole. That's why it's snowing here. All throughout the video, it's snow. Because that's where the abyss is. The center of the circle of the FLAT, Earth. And how many lights are in the sky? 6. Could easily be what? November 6th. Like my volume dropped, I guess, when I played her video. Sorry about that. We're back with better volume. So is that the Capricorn moon on the 6th? Is that what's taking place? Because it's the barcode of 666 on the forehead. We know 11/6 is 66. Let's go through a little bit of prep, and then we'll get to some other items that I have prepped. By the way, Zoom has guidelines too. I'm going to go through J.D. Salinger and Catcher in the Rye and run a few other things to this date. Publication date, I think this is from Stephen King's It, which is what Mom is reading at the very beginning of the movie. Donnie Darko entering the house at the beginning of the movie. So I don't know if this one will get us to it. There's Mom reading the book It by Stephen King when Donnie comes walking by. Stephen King, It. And then guess who walks by as she's reading It? Him. She's reading It, and she looks, and there's Donnie. Donald, Don, Donnie. All right, so it. The publication date was September 15th, 1986. Pages 1,138. 138 is October 2nd, spelled out in simple gematria, where A is 1, Z is 26. It is also Donald Trump in simple gematria, where A is 1, Z is 26. It's a direct match. That's why Donnie Darko's date was October 2nd. Made famous. Donnie Darko, October 2nd. And so you click it, and it'll show you the clock striking midnight at the beginning of the movie, and October 2nd appears on the screen, 1988. Pages 1,138. Palindrome 121 Antichrist on election day. Let's click it. If you were on the release of it to election day, that begins with I'm voting for Dukakis. Our election day is on 11/5. It's a palindrome 13931. It's the same number backwards and forwards. It's 38 years, which is death in simple gematria, and it's murder in reverse ordinal. So that's both. That's part of both of the 4 base ciphers. 1 month, 121 days, 38 years, 1 month, 21 days, 121 is Antichrist in simple gematria. It's what we call a direct smash hit. Doesn't mean it's going to happen on that day, but it's our best clues to date. That 139 in the URL matches the days of the novel. This is It, Stephen King film, and film to book. Okay. In the URL, it's 139 6484. There's It. Which featured Pennywise, the clown, and we know all about J.C. Penney. And their J.C. is Jesus Christ, fused with Pennywise. The timetable from the there it goes. I've already hit that. I'm sorry. After the 139 connection, we get the 6 for the 6th, and then an 8 for the 8th. And notice, oh, okay, let's go back to it. In the URL, 1396484, as if to say the 4s for the 6th and for the 8th. That's a reach. And notice release date September 5th, 2017, September 8th, 2017. Running time 135 minutes. 135th prime number is 761. The total number of verses in Daniel and Revelation. Remember, the Dark Knight gave us the 135 on the tag of Bruce Wayne. a few minutes later, they gave us the 761 on the tag of the bus because they are coding that. So I need to look at this one more time just to make sure I didn't miss anything. I don't think we did. I think that's everything. Yeah, I don't know. Up too much dead air space. My apology. Let's just keep going. If it was anything pertinent. Oh, the 86 in the months. 86 means to eliminate, 374 in the weeks. This is the movie. That's what it was. To the event date. 86 months. 86 means to eliminate. 374 weeks. Yeah, I think my mind was wandering and daydreaming. So my bad there. Sorry about that. 374 weeks is a fusion of 37 and 74, which are the first two progressions of 37, which is the 12th prime number. It's the prime. 37 is prime number for the church. It divides into 999 all the way through 111, including, of course, 666, 777, every bit of it. I knew there was one other item that I was glazing over because my mind was just drifting. I was thinking about other things. All right, 8/12/2022 was the day Sirius, the Dog Star rose, and a double midpoint of two total solar eclipses, 251 days in both directions, and two total lunar eclipses, 88 days in both directions. So if we look at that, it's 116 weeks to our 11/116 target date, then a perfect 11/7 weeks on the rising day, Revelation 11/7. And the rising day, of course, is 11/8, and it's a perfect 117 weeks on that. So it's 116 weeks on the event date of 116. And then on the rising day, 11/8, it switches to 11/7 weeks. For Revelation 11/7, the beast rising from the pit. It is absolute, utter perfection. One 6 weeks and 5 days. It's a perfect 117 weeks on the rising day for Revelation 11/7. 8/17 begins the day. We remember that 8/17. I'm not going to get into it. The film Mother, one of the creepiest movies. We know who Mother is. That's Mother Nature, Mother Earth, and it's all about Lucifer. Well, that thing dropped again. My volume dropped again. That AI is jacking us around. But fair play. Channel's up. It's all that matters right now. The release date of the film Mother is also it's in that same time range in September 2017. Let me pause for a second. All right, so look at the days of Mother. It's 2/6/11 on the rising day. So it's telling you to go back to the day that he goes down on 6/11, which is how most countries write November 6th. We write it 11/6. It's just a upside down 9/11. Also, the way most countries write the date of the event, to the rising day. So that was pretty much it. The running time of Mother is 121 minutes. 121 is Antichrist in simple gematria. Its rating is 6.6 for Book of Revelation. Coded. I just clicked on that. Did that cause it to drop? No. It's if I play a video, I have to remember it will drop the volume. The film Get Out, followed by their film Us, which stands for US, Get Out of US. These are the same basic directors and producers, all linked up with each other. And then they did the movie You Should Have Left. So Get Out, US, You Should Have Left. Those are the names of the movies. 79% in years and months. So you have 79% of a common year, along with 79. So 7 years, 9 months, and 779.18% of a common year. Both. On Us, this is basic. Running time is 116 minutes for our date for the movie Us. This is the day after the election. Release dates are March 8th for 38. March 8th now. 38 for 38 death and murder. We already went over that. The other release date is March 22nd for 322, the code for Skull and Bones, which is all about Genesis 322. Perfect. And then You Should Have Left 1602. In the days, 602 is Revelation in Strong's Concordance. Perfect. Perfect, 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 perfect. Or 4 years, 4 months. 4 and 4 is code for Revelations 404 verses. 38 for 48 in the hours. 38, of course, is the murder. And 48 is Donald Trump in, I think, reverse ordinal, one of the base ciphers. Jordan Peele, if you look at him, because he's the main guy, he's the one that directed Get Out, where it all began. And it was, again, the same directors, producers that overlapped each other in these. You can track them in Wikipedia. If you include both dates and run him to the 86ing day, to the rising day, he's 16,698. So it's a 166. 66 book is Revelation, followed by 98 in the days. So it's 16698. Guess what the 98th verse of Revelation is? You guessed it. The white horse crowning verse, which is all about the Antichrist, death, and rising. That's perfection on their end. Can't get it any better and smoother than that, folks. 66th book of the Bible is Revelation, and the 98th verse is Revelation 6:2. White horse crowning verse. The amount of days of his descent. Do you remember when he descended down the escalator? That represented his descent. If you run, and what is it we're running? The middle of I Pet Goat. Okay, I'm sorry. We're running his descent, to his day that he descends, November 6th. It's a perfect 343 in the days. 343 is dead center of I Pet Goat when the Day of the Dead skeleton pops. that could be a reach, but I like it. I like it just the same. Let's go over a few more items. The summer solstice of 1963. That may or may not be the birthday of somebody very prominent in my life, or was at one time. 61 years, 4 months. 614 is Trump's birthday, 614. But they are a palindrome, 22-4-22, on the day after the rising. That person, well, what if somebody born on that day was the world's largest Donald Trump fan? That perfect 22-4-22 on 11-9. Born on the summer solstice, 1963. Anybody born on that date would fit this. It's that simple. Remember me going over anybody born on 3/19/1998. 3 times 19 times 1998. Their number has that perfect 11-3, which represents the rising. It's when One World Trade Tower was opened. It's the opposite of 3/11, which is opposite on our circular calendar of 9/11, which was all about Revelation 11:7, because September was once the 7th month. And most countries write the date backwards from us. So it was really 11/7 was the day of the event in their cryptic world. And what rose up from 9/11? One World Trade Tower, which opened on 11-3. So that's the first 3 digits in anybody's number born on that day, 3 times 19 times 1998, followed by or fused with 138. Remember, that's the 1-1-38, which we saw earlier in that one cipher. If you remember, I highlighted in yellow that 138 and went over it in detail with you. I can't remember what it was linked to, but it was basically at the beginning of the prep. So they have that 1-1-38, but 138, again, Donald Trump. Simple gematria. 38 is death in simple gematria. 38 is murder and one of the other base ciphers. I think reverse full reduction. It's murder. Then there's an 88, which is Trump in simple gematria, followed by the 86, which means the 86ing of him. So they got the 88 being 86 at the end, and at the beginning, the 11-3. What's unique about anybody born on this day that has that number, which represents the death and rising? I want you to look at the rising day, 26 years, but 7 months, 20 days, 7/20. That was when The Dark Knight Rises was released. And 7/20 is coded to perfection. But, you know, they have death and rising in their number. Let's go back to the event date, when his right eye is utterly darkened. 7 months, 18 days. 7/18 was the release date of The Dark Knight. Not the premieres, but the USA release date. Look at the months, 3/19. That's the birthday. 3/19. Look at the weeks, begins with 138. So I thought that was very unique. I always look at that cipher. Remember, my own birthday is a tremendous cipher. I was born at 404 Lime Street. Well, that's where I was conceived and where I came home from the hospital. 404 is the amount of verses in the book of Revelation. My graduation gift was a 357. It got stolen, but 357 plus 404 is 761, which is a fusion of my birthday, 7/6/1961, and the amount of verses in both end times books, Daniel and Revelation. And my number is 82362. When you add 1 plus 2 plus 3 all the way plus 7 plus 8, you get 36. Whoops. 7 times 6 times 1961. 82362. Like I said, when you add 1 plus 2 all the way through 8, you get 36, which is right there. The 8, 2, the 36, 2 to 666. Because look at the 36. When you add 1 plus 2 plus 3 all the way plus 35 plus 36, the sum is 666. So it's like saying 8 to 36 to 666. So my number is very unique like that. So you never pick on anybody, but myself, I'm very close to myself in this life, or other people that might be close to you in this. Those are the ciphers that you look at the most, because that's not Mystery Babylon releasing a movie date. Those are dates that the Lord ordained. Not that he's not ordained everything, but the birth of somebody, that's what the Lord ordained. And so that's what we look at. They're called personal ciphers. J.D. Salinger, Jerome David Salinger. Jerome is my middle name. Fascinating. Jerome David Salinger, or J.D. Salinger. Remember how all the serial killers or supposedly read Catcher in the Rye? Catcher in the Rye and serial killers. J.D. Salinger's Catcher in the Rye is linked to several. How is Catcher in the Rye a motivation for killers? Why is Catcher in the Rye such a red flag for so many people? J.D. Salinger's Catcher, oh, so is Oxygen, because I heard all those murders and attempted murders breathed oxygen before they committed those heinous acts. What serial killer was inspired by Catcher in the Rye? More than one. But so that one was Mark David Chapman. Who was I forget what he was. He was there it is, Catcher in the Rye, and you have to wonder what all this stuff really, the guy that killed John Lennon. And there were others too. So I ran Catcher in the Rye. To our event day, 26,777. 26,777 days. How many months? 879. 79 is murder and simple gematria, where A is 1 and Z is 26. J.D. Salinger, born 1/1/19, which is Donald. Hello. 119 is Donald in simple gematria. J.D. Salinger, born January 1st, 1919, to our event day, 38,000, death and murder, 661 days. Book of Revelation. And what's in the middle? What's that fused with? Yep, the 86. 386, 61 days. 86 to eliminate, Agent 86. Let's keep going. I think this was the film Dead Man Walking. 929, That was 95. So dead man walking to the day the dead man would be walking. It's a perfect 10,540 days, or 1054. Drop the last zero there. What is significant about 1054? Oh, that's the birth of Donald Trump. Donald Trump born 1054 a.m. So that was nicely coded. So there it is right there, June 14th, 1054 a.m., when the total lunar eclipse was going over Egypt. Hello. Is anybody there? Is anybody listening? Dead man walking. Box office 83 million. 83 is murder in one of the 4 base ciphers. I think reverse reduction or reverse ordinal. So who hosted the first Saturday Night Live this year, the 50th anniversary? Gene Smart, September 13th, 1951. You run her to the event date, 26,718 days. 718, we just went over it. It's when The Dark Knight was released. 3816 in the weeks. 38 is murder and death combined. You run her to the rising day. She's 26, 720. 720, July 20th was the release of The Dark Knight Rises. So, Gene Smart, your first, why was she chosen to be the lead dog on SNL? Kind of a random pick, wasn't it? The person that said, I'm voting for Dukakis, and was also in The Dark Knight, Donnie Darko and The Dark Knight. Only one person. That's Maggie Gyllenhaal. So who do you think Maggie is in The Simpsons? She, on the 86ing day, 46 years, 11 months, 21 days. That's 461, 121. 121 is Antichrist. In simple gematria. The total lunar eclipse, I'm sorry, the midpoint of 2 total lunars and 2 total solars. Also the day series of Dog Star Rose, we went over it. 116 in the weeks on the 86ing day, 117 in the weeks on the rising day for Revelation 11:7. The rising Bible verse in the 116 weeks for the date of the 86ing, 11:6. It's a little too perfect, isn't it? Guess that was worth going over twice. If y'all remember my 3/11/2020, I'm sorry, that's not my, that was 2022. We remember the world's 3/11/2020 event. And 2 days later was 3/13. There's a Bruder film, Frame 3/13, when Mr. Big put us on the LOCK. Look at it. It's 4 years, 7 months, 26 days. So 3/11/2020 to the 86ing day of 11/6, potentially the 86ing day. It's 4 years, 7 months, 26 days. Or FOR for 726. 726 is Antichrist in English gematria, which is 6 times English ordinal or simple gematria. So instead of A being 1, like simple gematria or English ordinal, A is 6, B is 12, C is 18. So you end up, instead of Antichrist being 121, it's 726, which is when they had the opening ceremonies at this year's Olympic Games. So it's 4 years, 7 months, 26 days from 3/11. So if we run this from this year's 7/26, since we brought that up, it's 3 months, 11 days. There's your 311. No, it isn't. Can you believe that? 3 months, 11 days from 7/26, opening ceremony, 7/26 representing Antichrist, to the 86ing day. It is a perfect 3 months, 11 days. Run it to the rising day. Are you ready for this? 3 months, 13 days. So March 11th, 2020 and March 13th, 2020, the two biggest days of the year, other than May 25th was the third big event. It is absolutely direct smash hits, heavily, heavily, heavily coded. My goodness. If you run 8/11, the closing ceremonies, to 11/8, the mirror, it's 89 days. Wouldn't you know that 89 is in Donald Trump and Jewish gematria, the most biblical, and 89 is in Donald J. Trump in the Jewish gematria? 589 and 1189. Absolutely mind-blowingly fascinating. The day Sirius the Dog Star rises on 8/12 to 11/8 is 88 days. What a coincidence. 2.404% of a common year. 24.04% of a common year. My goodness. What else? What else? Folks, that's it. And goodness gracious, I think that's enough. What do y'all think? My goodness. Probably nothing will happen the day after the election. But boy, you know, I've been through this how many times where I look at something, I'm like, well, look at all these connections. Nothing ever happens. But it just keeps building, doesn't it? We just keep feeling it. People that know it and see it and understand it, they're just like, my goodness, they just keep feeling how it just keeps building. All right, love you. It's going to have to happen sometime. Is it November 6th?